call the meeting to order tonight. This is the regular session for the City Council for June 22nd, 2017. If you would rise, and we'll have a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Beth.
Mr. Draper.
Here.
Ms. Etzel. Present. Mr. Spinks.
Present.
Mayor Aboasley. Mr. Brandt.
Here.
Mr. Nicholson.
Here.
Ms. Pazor.
As per our usual, we will have a moment of silence, so if you would pause for a moment. Thank you. This is the portion of the council meeting where citizens may come forward and present something to council. It has to be something that's not on the agenda tonight. So if you see it on the agenda, wait till that time. But if you have something that's not on the agenda, come forward and present to us. Anyone have something? Oh, yes, ma'am. Name and address, of course.
Renee Gedalia, 797 Oak Park Circle in Marion. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Linn-Mar School Board and just want to take this opportunity to again encourage everyone to go to our website and check out the Vote 2017 information. There'll be a big bond referendum vote on September 12th. On the website, you can find things such as the bond petition language, enrollment information, the historical and projected tax levy, tax impact summary, and frequently asked questions. And lastly, I would just say that this Monday we're holding a special work session at 4:30 to get the latest update on the facilities plans and also to disseminate our communication plan for the next 3 months. That's it. Thank you.
So is the work session open to the public then?
Yeah, anybody can come. We're not voting on anything, and I don't
Okay.
know if the format will allow for questions. My guess is no, but certainly I'd be willing to stay after if anyone had anything if we weren't taking them.
Okay. Thank you, Renee. Anything else then that's not on the agenda tonight? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm Melinda Hatcher, 998 Eastview Avenue, recent addition to Marion. I just got an email from our neighborhood association that you're not discussing Tower Terrace tonight. So I just wanted to let you know if I'm walking out, it's not that I'm mad or anything. I just got the email myself, and there might be some others from the neighborhood that might go too. So appreciate it.
Okay. All right.
Scott, something.
Tom?
Interrupt the meeting, but if there are others here, we did make an indication that we were going to set the date for the hearing regarding hours of operation along Tower Terrace. At the meeting, we did say that we were going to do that this evening. However, the planning agenda was quite long, and we did not add that at the time.
Okay.
And so we'll set at the July 6th meeting, we'll do a set date for a public hearing regarding an amendment to that zoning out there. And then the public hearing will actually be on the second meeting in July, which will be the 20th? 20th. On the 20th. So just so everybody's aware and those in the audience that may have attended.
Okay. Does the message you got reflect that?
Yeah, the message I got.
Okay.
July 20th date. So.
Yep.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Tom.
Yep.
Anything else? Hearing none, we'll move on to the consent calendar.
Yes, Your Honor, I have the consent calendar. It consists of items 1 through 39, Resolution 26-108 to 26-137. I've had no request to remove anything for private, separate discussion.
Is there a second?
A second.
Moved and seconded. Questions on anything on the consent calendar? That was by Will. The second was by Will. Any questions then on anything on the consent calendar? Hearing none. All those in favor of the consent calendar signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Your Honor, I would like to ask for a special privilege, if I might.
Well, tonight should be your special, so go right ahead.
You know, I always talk a little bit about history, and tonight I'm not going back as far as normal, but I would like to go back to 1953. In 1953, as a freshman at Southern Illinois University, I met this little girl the first night at a mixer. And on the way back, taking they back to the dorm, me and two of my buddies, newfound friends, asked me if I had asked her out yet. And I said, no, but I was about to, you know. Well, I did, and she didn't want to go. She said, will you call me? And she wanted to check with a friend of hers who also I went to high school with. Well, Rita was hopefully all right, so things worked out. But we dated off and on for a year, pretty regularly the next year, very regularly the third and the fourth. And a week after graduation in 1957, we were married. And, Your Honor, that was 60 years ago today. And my roommate is in the back. And I'm going to ask with special privilege, and I know I'm leaving you a little bit short, but we have plans for this evening. I'd like Beth to realize that I was in attendance but left early. And we have a lot of plans. I have some that may not be the same as hers, but...
Well, thank you. And if y'all know Paul, and 60 years with him, that's quite the feat. So.
The applause was for you.
That's right. All right. Councilwoman Edsel, please.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution Number 26138, approving the proposed allocation of hotel motel funding for fiscal year 17-18.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
I have something, Your Honor. I'm trying to pull it up, sorry. Giving Tree Theater. So I had something in there about proof that they're a nonprofit. Is that?
Yeah, they're working on obtaining their nonprofit status, and so the funding award is contingent on that being, of that happening. So they'll need to provide proof before any funds are issued.
Before you give the funds? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So would that be like a 501c type thing, or? Yeah, okay. So they can get donations and things like that. Very good.
That was it.
Any other questions then on, how many, just curiosity, how many applications did you have?
We had 18 total.
18 total. All right, thank you. Okay. All those in favor of resolution number 26138 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. I'll open a public hearing regarding the lease and pole attachment agreement with Verizon Wireless. Brian, would you give us a...
I'll come up.
Yeah, if you would. Show everyone what you're talking about.
Okay, in 2016, or I should say 2015, the city was approached by Verizon Wireless expressing an interest to co-locate what they refer to as small cell antennas throughout the city. And the cellular towers are very small. They're on the street lights that are owned and operated by the city of Marion. Back in October of 2015, we approved a lease agreement with Verizon to do an initial install of about 6 locations. We've done that. We actually have one right here on the corner of City Hall. And so this year, Verizon Wireless has identified an additional 7 locations they would like to work with the City of Marion on. As proposed under the lease agreement, Verizon, the City of Marion would install the same type of streetlights. They would be dedicated to the City of Marion. Verizon would pay for the improvements, the streetlights, and then they would also pay the City of Marion a lease, an annual lease. Each location, I believe the annual lease is $2,000. It's included within that lease agreement. And then after 5 years, which is the extent of the lease agreement, the city and Verizon will go back to renegotiate that. And so this has been to the Public Services Board. The board has approved this, and now we have it before the City Council for consideration. So.
All right, very good. Is there anyone in the audience that wants to speak in favor of this resolution? Anyone in the audience want to speak against it or would like more information about it? Hearing none, public hearing is now closed. Councilman Brandt.
Yes, I move to approve resolution number 26139, approving lease and pole attachment agreement with Verizon Wireless.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
I guess I have one question.
Okay.
So they're paying for the installation of the poles. Is the city installing them, or are they installing them?
Actually, last year they installed them, I believe, and we're going to look at that again. We might want to go out to bid for these to get a little bit better price to see if we can reduce the cost of the poles a little bit. So we're still going to work that out. That hasn't worked out yet, but regardless, they'll pay for all the improvements, all the installations, and then after 5 years, like I said, we'll renegotiate that lease. So.
Right. So does any of these locations require fiber running to it, or is it there?
I imagine all of them will, and that's one thing I will add is that we do have an agreement, usually with whoever runs the fiber, that the city will be afforded room in that conduit. We see these lights to be an asset. At some point, we might want to mount our own communication devices on those.
Oh, yeah. And tie that into the rest of the system? Yeah, okay. Any other questions then on this? Hearing none. All those in favor of resolution 26139 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Nicholson.
Your Honor, I'd like to recommend approval of resolution number 26140, accepting bid and awarding contract to Foster's Heating and Air Conditioning, Inc., regarding the McGowan House cooling system project in the amount of $20,910.
Second?
Moved and seconded. This was number one, the number one proposal, correct? Yes, okay. We'd actually received 3 proposals or 3 different options, and this is the one that seemed the best to council. So I appreciate all the hard work you guys did looking at this. Any other discussion?
I have one question.
Okay.
Any issue with it being not going out for bid and just giving it to them, giving them the contract?
I don't think so, but
No, there's not. It's at the discretion of the council.
Okay. Make sure there's no legal issue with that.
And to expand on that, when we talk about sole sourcing out a project like this, there's circumstances that you have to look at with that, and the reasoning behind this one was the fact that to come up with the options and to investigate all of those, working with Mark Morgan and Mark's knowledge of historical homes and providing a solution for the cooling of that historical home and also protect the integrity of the home at the same time. And that's why we feel the benefit to sole source to Foster's for those reasons.
Sure.
Otherwise, we would look at multiple bids for a project like this, but based on the fact that he has that expertise, has that knowledge of the historical homes. That's why my recommendation to the council was that we would sole source that work to him.
And I don't have any issue with Foster's doing the job. It's just making sure there was nothing.
And I don't want to speak and say something that might, I don't know if legal has anything to add to that or not.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions then? Hearing none. Resolution 26140. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Councilwoman Edsel.
Your Honor, I move to approve ordinance number 17-14, amending Chapter 162 of the Code of Ordinances and adopting the ICC Electrical Code 2006 edition and with amendments, and the National Electrical Code 2017 edition with amendments, and providing penalties. Final consideration.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Anyone brought up any issues with this at all?
Not that I've heard, Your Honor.
Okay.
Ron did not mention it to me.
Final.
Any questions from council? Okay. For ordinance 17-14, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Councilman Brandt.
Make a motion to receive, file, and concur with staff report regarding a request for Children at Play sign on 39th Street.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Your Honor, the individual that requested this might be in the audience. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, is someone in the audience from? No? Okay.
Must not be. Thought we should ask. As well as the next ones.
So this is the staff request, or the staff recommendation is no?
Yeah, the staff is no action at this time.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion, or to approve the receive and file, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Nicholson.
I'd like to make a motion to receive and file and concur with staff report regarding a request for additional street light at the intersection of 29th Avenue and 24th Street.
Second.
What did I say?
44.
Oh, 44th Street, sorry.
Yeah, I rode by there today, and that's one of those, that's the same fixture that's all along my area of 29th, so it's different from everything else around.
Yeah, we did receive a comment from Alliant today that the current bulb in there now is about 2,200 lumens. They're going to replace that with a 44-watt LED, which will bring it up to about 4,400 lumens, so it'll about double the strength. We hope that will help. Our recommendation is to not add another light at this intersection.
Yeah, that should help, though. You double the lumens.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, thanks for looking into that.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions on that? All those in favor of the motion, for the motion to receive and file, signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Councilwoman Edsel.
Yes, Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 26141, approving a waiver of SUDAS specifications regarding driveway for Matt Berger, Iowa Walls Concrete, 5875 Lynn Air Avenue.
Second.
Moved and seconded. The discussion on this? Here.
The resolution does state that you would be approving option number 2, which allows for the two driveways 20 foot apart.
Which is that's what he had requested, correct?
That was his recommendation, or the one he would preferred.
Okay. Did you have any other comments? Okay. All right. All those in favor of resolution 26141, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Brandt, boy, it comes around quickly.
It does, doesn't it? I make a motion to approve resolution number 26142, approving the preliminary plat for Eco-Industrial Park Phase 2 for property located west and east of 44th Street and south of 3rd Avenue in Marion, Lynn County, Iowa, City of Marion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor of Resolution 26142 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Nicholson.
I move that we accept resolution number 26143, approving the final plat and memorandum agreement for Echo Industrial Park Phase 2 for property located west of 44th Street and south of 3rd Avenue in Marion, Lynn County, Iowa, City of Marion.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Discussion on this one. Hearing none. All those in favor of Resolution 26143 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Open a public hearing regarding a request to sell city property described as the west 180 feet of the east-west alley located south of lots 2, 3, and 4, and north of lots 5, 6, and 7, all in Block 26, original town, now City of Marion, Lynn County, Iowa. Request from Perry Development LLC, Douglas and Angela Williams and John Fillmore. Is there anyone in the audience that wants to, well, let's see, do you want to give at least show a picture of what we're doing? I know it was such a detailed description that you know exactly where it is.
Well, I think a picture says 1,000 words here.
Thank you.
6th Ave, 9th Street, and 8th Street. There's an east-west alley that runs down through here. Actually, you wouldn't even know that it's an alley if you drive by there. But it was a remnant alley, and so the Perry Development is asked to vacate and acquire the parcels, and they are doing so, and so did the adjacent properties on 5 and 6. So they're going to be acquiring the property adjacent to their lots. So this just provides for that. The next 3 resolutions are in support of the sale of this property.
Right. And this is part of the Central Corridor development because of the properties that have sold along 6th Avenue.
Yeah, the developers they're in the audience, and they're planning a project on the north side of that property.
Right.
And if you drive down there now, the old brick home is there, and they're renovating that. So.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience then that wants to speak in favor of this item? Anyone in the audience that wants to speak against it or have more information on it? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Councilman Edsel.
Yes, Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 26144, approving sale of city property described as the entire 10-foot adjacent to Lot 2, the north 5-foot adjacent to Lot 3, the north 5-foot adjacent to Lot 4 of the east-west alley located south of Lots 2, 3, and 4, and north of Lots 5, 6, and 7, all in Block 26, original town, now City of Marion, Lynn County, Iowa, directing manner of execution of deeds. Perry Development, LLC.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Council discussion on this. Hearing none. All those in favor of Resolution 26144 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Brandt.
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve resolution number 26145, approving sale of city property described as the south 5-foot adjacent to Lot 5 of the east-west alley located south of Lots 2, 3, and 4, and north of Lots 5, 6, and 7, all in Block 26, original town, now City of Marion, Lynn County, Iowa, all directing manner of execution of deeds. Douglas A. and Angela M. Williams.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Council discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor of Resolution 26145 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Nicholson.
I'd like to recommend recommend approval for resolution number 26146, approving the sale of city property described as south 5-foot adjacent to Lot 6 of the east-west alley located south of Lots 2, 3, and 4, and north of Lots 5, 6, and 7, all in Block 26, Original Town, now City of Marion, Marion, Lynn County, Iowa, and directing the manner of execution of deeds for John C. Fillmore.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Council discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor of Resolution 26146 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Open a public hearing regarding a proposed disposition of a portion of city-owned property located between 25th Street and 29th Street and south of 8th Avenue, north of 5th Avenue. A request by Genesis. Is there anyone in the, well, give us where is this picture?
So this has been a property land exchange that's been been in conversation with the city council for some time. This is actually going through the process of actually transferring the property that the east roundabout on 7th Avenue currently sits on. It was constructed by Genesis Equity. They own the property. The project's been completed, and now we need to transfer the property. As you'll recall, when they bought Marion Iron and redeveloped the site, there was a development agreement that included a land exchange for the remnant parcels that would be created by the construction of the roundabout in exchange for the property that the roundabout would be built on. So this illustration, the yellow area is the property that would be exchanged for the city to acquire for the roundabout. As you can see, it's currently constructed there. So the yellow would become public right-of-way. The orange solid are the remnant pieces that are created when we rerouted 7th into the roundabout. This is the current, or the what was 7th Avenue. This is the 26th Street right-of-way that was vacated. And down here we have a couple remnant pieces that would be created by virtue of the right-of-way for 6th Avenue extended, and then also the south leg off the roundabout. I wanted to hatch the orange area, the hatched area. That just illustrates the property that's owned by Genesis Equity. So it kind of just lets you see that they're going to own a majority of the property. They currently own it, so the remnant parcels only make sense to go to the adjacent parcels. And I think even 4 or 5 years ago when we were talking about this road, we identified that remnant pieces we would probably work with the adjacent properties on for acquisition and then redevelopment of. Another place that we've done that is here. This is the Levita site. There's a plat of survey in this 2042 that was as a part of a development agreement with the owners of Levita. We did transfer that parcel to them. So the agreement that's on the agenda, the next item, basically exchanges the city right-of-way or the city property for the right-of-way described in yellow. There's no dollars changing hands on this. It's virtually a land exchange. So if there's any questions on that, I can.
Okay, well, I'll ask for the audience then. Is there anyone that wants to speak in favor of this proposed disposition of property? Anyone wants to speak against it or want more information, like more information on this? Hearing none. The public hearing is now closed. Ms. Eds?
Yes, Your Honor, I make a
Thank you,
motion
Tom.
to approve resolution number 26147, authorizing the Mayor Pro Tem to execute the purchase agreement with Genesis Equities, LLC, regarding the sale of city-owned property located between 25th Street and 29th Street and south of 8th Avenue and north of 5th Avenue, described as shown below, in exchange for receipt of fee title to acquisition plot Parcel A from Genesis Equities LLC.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Council discussion on this.
Once again, just to clarify, the timing of 26, it's staying open till?
Correct.
till
Yes. Till there's a
till
development.
there's a development.
Yeah.
So, just so people know, the 26 isn't getting closed down
Correct.
right away, right now.
Okay, other questions? Okay, all those in favor of Resolution 26147 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries. Mr. Brandt.
Yes, I make a motion to receive and file a request from Abode Construction for the assurance of 4 building permits prior to approval of the final plat for Briargate 6th Edition.
Second?
Moved and seconded.
Issuance, not insurance.
What?
Issuance, not insurance.
We know what you meant.
Yes.
So, questions on this? Hearing none. All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries. Mr. Nicholson.
I'd like to recommend approval of resolution number 26148, approving the demolition of buildings located at 863 6th Avenue and 865 6th Avenue per section 176.50 of the Marion Code of Ordinances, Central Corridor Overlay District, the Perry Development Partners, LLC.
Second?
Moved and seconded. These are the storage, is this the storage facilities?
No, this is in the property, in the block that we just discussed the
that's the
vacation.
housing.
There's 2 homes there.
Okay.
The developers of that property are in the audience if you had questions for them. But they've had full intentions of maintaining those homes in their redevelopment project. They did explain in detail at the Planning Commission. I think we also did in the staff report that it really just became financially infeasible to maintain the properties or rehab them. I know if you had questions, they're here for that. But from a staff perspective, after meeting with them, we completely understood. The Planning Commission concurred with the staff and did recommend approval of the demolition of the 2 buildings.
So the Planning and Zoning approved this as well?
Correct.
Good.
Yep.
Any other questions then on these items? Okay, all those in favor of Resolution 26148 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Almost forgot that. Motion carries. That's all.
Okay, Your Honor, I make a motion to approve resolution number 26149, approving deferral of public improvements and annexation of property along 35th Avenue within 2 mile of municipal boundary. Obando is requesting.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. I've had a chance to meet with a representative of the Obando family, Mr. Vance. He's in the audience tonight. And he brought I think the council's received a letter in the past from the family regarding this split of the property and a desire for the deferral of the cost for public improvements. And we had a conversation before the meeting, and I guess I'd ask that we table this decision and allow us a little time to kind of look at it. I think on Tuesday I'd made indication that there was a request to waive the requirement for annexation, and it was my understanding at that point that there was a waiver request being and not necessarily just a deferral. So I'd like some time to confer with them and bring it back to the City Council for further discussion.
Okay. Did you want to say anything?
No, I appreciated the opportunity to visit with Tom, with him.
Okay. Any council questions on this?
I guess I should.
Yeah, come up to the mic and do your name. Do the whole legal thing.
It all boils down to we're not developing. It's just 2 family members wishing to keep 2 homes, and I think you've got that letter. And I wanted to thank you guys for your efforts and I hope we can work something out. We're looking forward to keeping the family farm and keeping the two homes.
Give the clerk your name, address, and there's
Excuse
a
me.
yellow, there's a
I'm
little yellow
Al
form.
Vance.
Is that what you have in your pocket?
I'm up here for a wedding, and my residence is southern Missouri, so I apologize.
We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
So then, you want to table this?
If we could.
All right, is there a motion to table 26149?
I'll make a motion to table resolution 26149.
Second?
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Now, those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Mr. Brandt.
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve project calendar regarding sidewalk installation in association with the 2017 Lucor Road Reconstruction Project as follows. A, Resolution 26150, B, Resolution 26151, and C, Resolution 26152.
Second?
Moved and seconded. A discussion on this. So is this all of them, Tom?
So, if the council will recall, there were, I believe, 5 associations that were involved or had property adjacent to the Lucor Road project. As staff reached out to them regarding their responsibility for sidewalk construction, we entered into an agreement with them where they would pay a portion of their required cost for the sidewalks per their memorandum of agreement at the time they subdivided the property. We received 3 agreements to pay for those as a part of the project, as listed in the identified resolutions, those from the Broadstone and Hunters Ridge Condo Association, Vintage Condo, Fairways, and Hunters Ridge Condo Association. So those 3 we did receive agreements, and so they will make the payment as provided to them as a part of the project. The next 2 resolutions on the agenda are the 2 organizations or condo development associations that chose not to. And what you'll see in those resolutions are a resolution of necessity, where the council is basically saying, we want you to pay your proportionate share at this time, and if you do not, then the improvements will be made and assessed to your property. So there will be further procedures that make that happen, but that's just the first step.
Okay. Any
That makes
questions
sense.
for Tom on that? Okay, we have 3 resolutions, 26150, 26151, and 26152. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries. Mr. Nicholson.
Your Honor, I'd like to recommend approval of resolution number 26153, approving a resolution of necessity regarding the installation of sidewalks per Hunters Ridge First Edition Memorandum of Agreement for Outlot D and Outlot F of Hunters Ridge Golf Club First Edition, and per the Hunters Ridge Golf Club 8th Edition Memorandum of Agreement for Lot 1 and Lot 3 of Hunters Ridge Golf Club 8th Edition, Hunters Ridge Development Company, LC.
Second?
It's moved and seconded. Tom, is anyone in the audience for these?
I do not believe so.
Okay.
I did bring those agreements if they wanted to sign them tonight, though.
So, questions from council then on this? Nothing? Okay. This is resolution 26153. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Edsel.
Yes, Your Honor. Move to approve resolution number 26154, approving a resolution of necessity regarding the installation of sidewalks along the east side of Lucor Road adjacent to Outlot A, Lot 1, and Lot 5 of Camden Farms, First Edition, and Lot 22 of Camden Farms, Second Edition, Camden Farms Condo Association.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Discussion on these? Tom, on these, will they have if it's assessed to their property, will they still be able to make payments over time on this?
Yes, yeah, so they'll basically pay an assessment over a 10-year period of time.
Yeah, okay. Any other questions on this? Okay, all those in favor of Resolution 26154 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Mr. Brandt.
Yes, Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 26155, approving the purchase of property described as Lot A, Plat of Survey 1133, Lynn County, Iowa, and Lot A, Plat of Survey 1134, Lynn County, Iowa, from Vaughn Family Company Incorporated in the amount of $95,000.
Second?
Moved and seconded. For those of you, this is part of the Tower Terrace Road construction project. So you want to say any more about it, Tom?
Not unless there's questions. It's one of the parcels is directly underneath or directly in the way of Tower Terrace Road. We've been working with the property owners for some time, and this is solidifying the actual purchase and acquisition. With the acquisition of this property, we would have the ability, because of even prior to the closing, as a part of this agreement, we've got the construction easement over the property. So after tonight, if there's a need to be on the property and start that project before closing, we have that ability. And
all right. Any questions from council on this? None heard. All those in favor of Resolution 26155 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. I get one more. Open a public hearing regarding the proposed amendment to the Central Corridor Urban Renewal Area. Is this, who do a report on this?
Sure. Before the council can consider entering into any new development agreement for tax incentives, the urban renewal area that the project is in needs to be amended. So this will be amended earlier in the meeting. Once it has been amended earlier in the meeting, you set the date for the public hearing for the project in the current Shermco building, the Mojo project, and then that will come to council for consideration in July.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who wants to speak in favor of this proposed amendment? Anyone that wants to speak against or more information on this? Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Mike Peterson, 3460 27th Avenue, Marion, Iowa. Just point of clarification, is this just the Mojo project, or is this the Ryan project with the library and the Mojo project?
Yeah, so both are included in an amendment, but there's been no request come forward yet for the Ryan project. So this will amend it in. If ever there is to be movement in the future on that, it would come to the council for a receive and file, and then it would have to go through a memorandum of understanding, and then it would proceed into a potential development agreement. Okay. So that would come to council several times.
I just wanted to make sure what I'm going to say is pertinent, okay? I have a dual interest here. I'm a citizen of Marion, and I'm a business owner in Marion, okay? And the honest answer is, as a business owner, I've been told to just shut up, sit down, and wait and see what happens, because I'm not supposed to piss you off, okay? But as a citizen of Marion, I'm kind of ticked off at this whole thing, because the more I look into it, I'm seeing things that I just do not like. So I'm going ahead and doing this at risk of ticking you off, okay? Because somebody said at this council meeting just the other day, what is in the best interest of Marion? And that's what I'm supposed to be thinking about as one of the stakeholders in all these things. And as I think of what's best for Marion, I got a problem with this. Which vote is the stop sign? Which time, which step in this process, when has it gone so long? Because I found out about this November of last year, and it became public knowledge. It's gone on 9 months. You know, when is it time to call it quits? We looked at damage to the existing business. On Tuesday night, you got a claim from a business on another property that was looked at for the library project as that being your fault, and asked you to consider paying them $110,000. Okay? There's been discussion of helping move 3 businesses that are in the Marion Square Plaza. There's no finalized agreement of what would happen, but that adds on money. Is that $500,000? $750,000? Those are expensive businesses to move. There was $110,000 with this daycare that you heard about on Tuesday night. So are we adding that on to the cost of the library project? We're already spending on a library project $6 million more than a developer personally told me he was willing to develop the library for. You could have funded in the same way, could have developed in the same way. You wouldn't have had to go to a public bond vote, would have had more parking and more square feet. And we're continuing on with this library project, okay? Because there were ulterior motives in putting the project there. It wasn't for the benefit of the library. It just wasn't. And anybody who tells me it was, I'm going to look straight them in the eye and say, you better reconsider that, because that's just not true. It wasn't the best decision for Marion, and it wasn't the best decision for the library as far as having square footage. You look at it, if another business fails, are you responsible for that then? Do we add that cost on to this library project? As we sit here and go on, step after step, if 2 or 3 businesses fail, do we add another $110,000 per business to get them restarted someplace else? Where do we restart them? There's no buildings on all this undeveloped land on 7th Avenue or 6th Avenue. The Indian Creek neighborhood isn't even close to being developed yet, out on Tower Terrace. A lady over at the barber shop today asked me to, go build a building there and put my business out there. She'd love to have it out there. We got all kinds of undeveloped land out on Collins Road. You got the Highway 151 project and 13. We got all this land, and we're tearing out existing businesses who are paying sales tax and paying property tax today. What is the big necessity in ripping out those businesses? You got 6th Street to 31st Street on 7th Avenue tore up. North Liberty did the same thing. They tore it all up, they redeveloped it, they cleared it out, and 10 years later, after they spent that money trying to get the retail rates up, developers went bankrupt, landlords went bankrupt, and as I look at trying to develop a 3rd store for myself, they want me to come down there at $11 a square foot. Ask one of your developers out here whether they'd like a new building being leased at $11 a square foot. I doubt they're going to like that idea. Is the plan a sound plan for all these urban development areas? Okay? I understand. These guys are smart. Okay? You got a lot of good people working for the city. This isn't about that. But it's your responsibility from a cultural standpoint of Marion, a philosophical standpoint of Marion. You are changing fundamentally what Marion is. Paul and Mary Lou often talk about the railroad history, but there's a small business history in Marion. There's a lot of small business, family-owned businesses that have started up and grown and developed in this area. That channel that does, Created in the Quarter, there is far too little, press about how many small businesses came out of it. I know of 4 businesses that came out of Nasso's in Marion, all people that worked there, all citizens of Marion. We left for a while, came back to Marion for that culture, for that philosophy, for that change. It's your responsibility to take a look at their plans and say yes or no to these grand plans and grand designs. Okay? It's not your responsibility to just say yes. You got to go look at what's going on. And speaking of what's going on, retail nationally are closing stores, closing square footage. Huge amounts of square footage are closing up. Ryan's Steakhouse just closed. Collins Road just shut down. Why? Because the retail market is changing. Wasn't that good of a place. Probably failed for a reason. But that square footage comes open. That's a market factor. Okay? Staples closed. Sears probably going to close. Kmart closed. Put in Whole Foods. Whole Foods walked out because the competition in the market can't justify the price they were paying to be in the market. Independent small businesses are the ones that are growing and expanding right now. And you're risking killing off a lot of them to do this project. Okay? That's the risk you're taking in doing this redevelopment plan in these urban renewal areas. It's one thing when you got an area like New Bow Market where there wasn't anything really creating value down there. Okay? You got one bar business that got outside the dike that I have some empathy for. But other than that down there, that place is totally better. What you guys are doing in some of this is taking out businesses that are paying property tax and paying sales tax. So in summary, what time is too long for this to go on? You know, I'm talking to you about, we're going on 8-9 months of this going on. Is it, you know, you go back to when it was planned on going next door, that's even back to 2015 sometime. Okay? When is it that we waited long enough and disrupted enough business and you know, hurt people enough that we just need to back off and say we need to reevaluate and do a different plan? There's a large amount of undeveloped land and retail space now open throughout Lynn County. Do we really need more redeveloped? Does Marion have the opportunity to capture what retail is going to be available? Or are there other streets with higher car counts and better demographics, more centrally core located? And most importantly, are you fundamentally changing the core value of Marion? You guys got to be the ones to decide. Are we losing something? And does that thing have value? It's council's responsibility, not staff, to make that choice. If all you do is when they come up with a plan, get out your rubber stamp and stamp it because they tell you it's in the long-term interest in Marion, and you don't investigate it yourself, you don't really think about those value judgments and value choices yourself, then you're really failing to do your jobs. You're responsible for all of us. That's what you're responsible for. There was one comment that I just want to, in finalizing, just bring up. You know who the business, out of all the businesses over here between the daycare and everything, is the best off going forward from just a business decision standpoint? It's Anytime Fitness. You know why they're in the best place? They've taken out the uncertainty. It was suggested that taking action or trying to find places to move was the wrong choice. That's the right choice. I had a plan to move, but my plan centered on an idea that by April 1st, this thing would be done. My plan's gone. Even if you fund a move, what hole am I going into in Marion that complies with the contracts that I have, that meets the square footage needs that I have, that's affordable for council and me? Why should we add on another $1 million total in relocation costs and damage costs to a project that is way overpriced right now? So I ask you to consider all that and think about that. Which vote is the stop sign? When is enough enough? That's all I got.
Okay, any others want to speak against this project or more information on it? Hearing none. Public hearing is now closed. Mr. Nicholson.
I'd like to make a recommendation for approval to resolution number 26156, approving the urban renewal plan amendment for the Central Corridor urban renewal area.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Council discussion on this item. Yes.
I was just wondering, does the council have any power to stop this, or?
Well, you mean to stop this
The
amendment
project?
from happening?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you would vote no if you didn't want the amendment to proceed. So this amendment is a state requirement. Back in 2012, they put this on before any development agreement is entered into. This is required. And so it makes the process a little bit longer, and it just authorizes potential projects that can happen in the future. After this amendment passes, or any amendment passes, then council has the opportunity to consider development agreements. So in taking action on this amendment, it does not authorize any development agreement at this time.
Has there been any action with Ryan in purchasing this facility? Or
No, I don't think so. I think they're still in their due diligence phase. But do understand that this is a private project that's moving forward at the rate it needs to move forward with due diligence. Yes, this, by denial of this, may eliminate the city's participation in the project, but the project is a private project.
Right. Okay, thank you for that. Any other questions then on this from council? Okay, this is resolution 26156. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Nays? The motion carries. Ms. Edsel.
Yes, Your Honor, this is a motion to receive and file multiple correspondence regarding cocktails block party on June 17th, 2017. Donna Raftis, 232 Blair's Ferry Road Northeast, Cedar Rapids. Marcia Fisher, 1025 Dry Creek Lane, and Bob and Carol Thurnis, 1000 Dry Creek Lane.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Chief, did you have something?
Absolutely. The event was quite the disaster, in our opinion. We had 9 police officers out there trying to curtail activity that we feel is not in the best interest of the citizens of Marion. Disturbances, too many people for the area. We're going to present an after action for council at the next work session, so you can know exactly what our officers had to deal with, and we'll further scrutinize any hold harmlesses for cocktails moving forward.
Okay. Any other questions from council on this? All those in favor of this motion to receive and file signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Brandt.
Your Honor, I make a motion to receive and file correspondence regarding relocation funds, ABC Connections Daycare and Preschool, Sarah Mossman and Kathy Lavelle.
Second?
Any discussion on this? Okay, all those in favor of this motion to receive and file signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Council discussion time.
No.
Okay. I guess Paul summed it all up, 60 years worth of whatever. I guess for council, I've got Dave and Will for the 24th. Anyone want to sign up for the 1st? And Kim? Okay. All right. With that then, I don't have anything else either, so I think we are adjourned. Thank you very much for everyone coming out.